I was asked a question recently that stopped me completely. And the question is, should people convicted of assaulting children be castrated? Sorry. There's many depths to this, and so, okay. My brain answered immediately, no. And then, just as fast, it reached backwards. Back to a time when I wasn't thinking about laws or ethics. I was thinking about survival. As someone who lived through childhood abuse, I understand the rage behind that question. I understand the desire for something final, something that feels like certainty. But justice cannot be built on emotion alone, especially not when trauma is involved. And that's where this gets complicated. Castration sounds decisive, permanent, like a solution. But when you examine it closely, it fails both ethically and practically. First, it's irreversible. One and done punishment leaves no room for correction if the system gets it wrong, and history shows that sometimes it does get it wrong. Second, it mistakes harm prevention for justice, and castrating somebody will not stop them from doing it. Studies have shown that when people have been castrated, they have just found other means to replace what is now missing. Anyway, okay, so second, it mistakes harm prevention for justice. Sexual violence is not about power. It is about power, control, and access, not anatomy alone. Removing body parts does not remove intent, ideology, or manipulation. If we are a lawful society, justice must be consistent. That means convictions through due process. That means equal protection under the law, even when the crime is horrific. And yes, especially when it is horrific. Now here's the part that's hardest to say. My personal experience makes me a biased judge. Trauma narrows perspective. It amplifies extremes. And because of that, I don't trust myself or any victim to design punishment fueled by pain. That doesn't mean offenders deserve sympathy. It means they deserve law. The real punishment is not spectacle, it is certainty. Conviction, permanent removal from society, strict incarceration, no access to victims, no immunity, no erasure of the record. Justice works best when it's boring, procedural, and relentless. When punishment becomes performative, society starts to look like the thing it claims to oppose. If we don't prove our values by how cruel we can be, we prove them by how disciplined we remain when cruelty would be easy. Besides, letting them rot in jail with the fear of what the other inmates will do to them would do them some good. Besides, that's the true punishment, the fear that their victims felt, knowing that that's throughout time. Anyway, and back to the story. And that's discipline matters because the system must protect future victims without becoming something unsustainable, reactive, or unjust. There are limits to punishment in a civilized society. Those limits are not weaknesses. They are guide rails. I don't believe castration makes us safer. I don't believe it makes us better. And I don't believe it honors the survivors. Justice should prevent harm, uphold laws, and deny offenders power without surrendering our own humanity in the process. That is my answer, not because I forgot what has happened, but because I remember it all too well. And Scott for 2028.